Dumpling Days, Chapter 20, The Market, Bags of Frogs. Gross. When we came back from dinner, Leon was home from work, and there were more hugging and talking. More adults showed up. Some were relatives, some were old friends. They all sat at the round table in Big Uncle's apartment, talking and talking in Taiwanese, while Lissy, Kiki, and I sat there bored and unimportant. At home, Mom was always so picky about when we went to sleep. But here, she didn't say anything, even when the sky became as black as burnt incense. Ooh, vocab word. When I went to bed, everyone was still laughing around the table. I sighed. Mom had stopped noticing me too. And when I woke up the next morning, Aunt Ami, Mom, Dad, Big Uncle, Leanne, and Clifford were still laughing and talking around the table. I knew they must have gone to sleep and woken up because they were all wearing different clothes, but it felt as if nothing had changed. What are we doing today? I asked. I'm not sure, Mom said, and handed me a bowl of rice porridge before turning back to the kitchen. Dad thought we might go to the cemetery to see his parents' graves, but we're not sure yet. I hope Dad changed his mind. Going to a cemetery definitely didn't seem like fun. Dad's parents died a long time ago. I never knew them. The only thing I did know of them was that two big black and white photos of them hung on the wall in the back corner of our living room. I tried not to look at them much because they were serious, unsmiling portraits with grim eyes that seemed to look at me disapprovingly. Once, a long time ago, Lissy took down the photo of Dad's father, held it over her face, and chased me with it. She got in a lot of trouble. Anami doesn't want us to go to the cemetery, Clifford said. Why not? Kiki asked. Because it's Ghost Month, Clifford said, and she thinks the only ones that would be at a cemetery now are hungry ghosts. Anami is very superstitious. Ooh, vocab term. You know, she won't even hang her laundry out to dry in the evenings. Why not? Kiki asked. Because ghosts might move into them, Clifford said. We all laughed. Our parents must have listened to Aunt Ami because we didn't go to the cemetery. Instead, we went to the market. Going to the market was even harder than going to the noodle restaurant. We had to cross a couple of streets, and each time I felt like a car almost hit us. The streets seemed to get narrower and narrower, fuller, with more and more people. I had to step over planks of wood on the ground that covered holes in the road, garbage, and sleeping dogs. When I looked up, all I saw were layers of bright signs with Chinese words I couldn't read. I wasn't sure when the street stopped being a street and turned into a market, but somewhere in the noisy, sticky, oh, okay, it's like a big open market in Taichung. But somewhere in the noisy, sticky crowd, it had big umbrellas shaded the crates of fruits and displays, and faded red paper lanterns line the sky. Mom, Dad, Leanne, Aunt Ami, and Big Uncle began to stop at different stalls and buy things. Clifford, Leanne said, pointing at a display of some rosy, bell-shaped fruits. Your favorite? Oh boy, said grinning. Wax apples. Clifford began to fill a bag. He can't eat a bag in one day, Leanne told us. He is the super wax apple eater. You can't blame me. They're so good, he said, handing me, Lissy, and Kiki one each. And you can get them in the States. You can't get them in the States. Try it. I took a bite, and the juice dripped down my chin. The fruit was crispy and sweet, so juicy. It was kind of like an apple, but not exactly. It was lighter and fresher. Oh, I lost my spot. It was lighter and fresher like an apple, crossed with a bubble. I could see why Clifford loved them. As I crunched, I almost walked into a big aluminum pot on the ground. Good thing I didn't. The silver pot was full of water and long black ropes. No, not ropes. Eels! There was another pot next to it, full of dark fish wavering in the water like captured shadows. Another pot had turtles, their small eyes looking at us like black stones, and next to all the pots was a mesh bag full of croaking frogs. But I couldn't look at everything because the person in charge of the stand said something in Chinese to me in an irritated tone. She seemed upset with me, probably because I almost stepped into her eels. I shook my head at her, and she said something louder. The skin of her round face was so tan that it was almost the same color as her eyes, which were flashing at me. I felt a little scared. A burning rush through me. How did I say I couldn't speak Chinese again? I couldn't remember. What were those words Mom had taught us on the train? Megorin? Megorin? I said. That was the only word I could remember. American. She had the same look in her eyes as the mean bus driver in New Hartford from so long ago. Where are you from? He had asked me. My answer didn't satisfy her either. She said something else to me louder and louder, and all I could do was stare at her red printed flowers on her apron, too frightened to look at her face. I knew she was angry, but I didn't know why. My cheeks burned red as if her words were slapping my face. Megorin, I said again, stupidly like a parrot. I didn't know what else to say. I felt like crying. What's up? Clifford said, grabbing my arm. The woman yelled something at him. Dubuki, he said as he waved her away and nudged me toward the road. Sorry, I said. I saw her shake her head in disapproval and disgust as Clifford dragged me away. She was mad at me, I said to Clifford. She wasn't mad exactly. She just didn't understand why you couldn't speak Chinese. A heavy feeling fell upon me like a crushing boulder. Twinkie. Those girls in the Taiwanese American convention had called me. You lost your culture, Twinkie. But I stuck my chin out. We don't speak Chinese in New Hartford, I said suddenly. I know, Clifford said. Your parents wanted you guys to fit in there, so that's why they never taught you. But that woman didn't know that. I told her I was American. I insisted. I said, Megoren, over and over. She probably didn't know what you meant, Clifford said. Here, people like us are called Huaren, overseas Chinese. She knew what I meant, I said stubbornly. They just don't like people to be Americans. That's not true, Clifford said. You know the Chinese word for American, but do you know what it really means? The word ren means people, gua means country, and the word mei means beautiful. So Megoren means people of a beautiful country. It's actually a compliment. But even so, I still felt as if I were a twisted knot. I was angry at all of them. The bus driver, the convention girls, the market lady. I wanted to yell, I'm American, but they wouldn't have believed me. Inside, I felt hard and stubborn, like a fist clutching a stolen pearl. I didn't want to learn Chinese. I didn't want to paint bamboo, and I didn't want to be here in Taiwan. Here, people either despised me or acted like I wasn't there, looking through me like a ghost. Clifford walked with me, pointing out other things and making jokes, so I tried to brush away my hurt feelings. But it was hard. Every time the convention girl's mocking laughter, the market lady's angry voice, or even Audrey Chang's condescending stare began to fade away, they seemed to come right back to haunt me. Oh, poor Macy.